トランプ大統領の実績の中で、彼自身が特に誇りに思っているのは経済の復興です。トランプ政権の下では、事業の生産性が向上したことで、家庭の収入の中央値が上昇し、一般のアメリカ人はより豊かになりました。こうした経済的繁栄には、いくつかの要因があります。それは、減税、規制緩和、エネルギーの自給、またアメリカの保守が主張する小さな政府の保守的な財政などです。しかしトランプ大統領は、最も景気に良い影響を与えたのは、規制緩和、あるいは規制廃止だと言います。規制はビジネスを行うためのコストを増加させ、労働者の生産性を低下させ、人々を貧しくします。トランプ大統領とアメリカの保守派は、このことをよくわかっています。しかし、バイデン政権はさらに規制を増やすことで、産業と国民の生活にダメージを与えようとしています。アメリカの保守主義の理念は、できるだけ政府が個人の人生の邪魔をしないことです。今後の一層の景気回復のためには、アメリカの政治家も日本の政治家も、トランプの保守的な経済政策、特に規制改革、規制緩和の意義について、よりよく理解する必要があるのです。
Candidate Trump promised to get rid of 2 federal regulations for every 1 added. Today, President Trump claimed his deregulation efforts are well ahead of schedule. He says the ratio is really 22 to 1. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts has the story from the North Lawn. Good evening, John.
Brett, good evening to you. During the campaign, President Trump promised to free American businesses of what he called burdensome, duplicative, and ineffective government regulation. Today, he used a pretty dramatic example to show just how bad the situation has become.
This is what we have now. This is where we were in 1960.
President Trump brought props to the Roosevelt Room today to illustrate just how federal regulations have exploded since 1960.
1, 2, 3.
It was an opportunity to brag on his efforts to cut red tape, dialing back government regulation, saying his administration has eliminated or delayed 1,500 planned regulations, adding that his plans to eliminate 2 regulations for every new one implemented has been successful beyond his wildest imagination.
For every 1 new regulation, we have eliminated 22. 22. That's a big difference. We aimed for 2 for 1, and in 2017, we hit 22 for 1.
Reducing regulation is part of what the White House calls a suite of economy-boosting measures the president is promoting.
We're here today to celebrate and expand our historic campaign to rescue American workers from job-killing regulations. Before I came into office, American workers were smothered by merciless avalanche of wasteful and expensive and intrusive federal regulation. These oppressive, burdensome mandates were a stealth tax on our people, slashing take-home pay, suppressing innovation, surging the cost of goods, and shipping millions of American jobs overseas. Millions and millions and millions. It never ended. Nearly 4 years ago, we ended this regulatory assault on the American worker, and we launched the most dramatic regulatory relief campaign in American history by far. No other administration has done anywhere near. Thank you. At the heart of this effort was a revolutionary promise. For every 1 new regulation issued, we pledged that 2 federal regulations would be permanently removed. We not only met that ambitious goal, which at the time people said was impossible, we vastly exceeded it. For every 1 new regulation added, nearly 8 federal regulations have been terminated. Been an incredible achievement. As you can see behind me, we have removed the gigantic regulatory burden Americans have been forced to carry for decades, freeing our citizens to reach their highest potential. Our historic regulatory relief is providing the average American household an extra $3,100 every single year, and we're going up from that number. We're going up from that number. Think of that. $3,100 per household. Under my administration, we have removed nearly 25,000 pages of job-destroying regulations, more than any other president by far in the history of our country, whether it was 4 years, 8 years, or in one case, more than 8 years. The prior administration piled up more than 600 major new regulations, a cruel and punishing regulatory burden that cost the average American an additional $2,300 per year. Think of that. The average American, $2,300 regulation, hitting low-income Americans by far the hardest. These regulations also inflicted a steep economic toll on African American communities. By contrast, our reforms are putting more money into the pockets of hardworking Americans. In addition to saving every family more than $3,000 per year, my administration has just issued another reform that my Council of Economic Advisors estimates will lower the price of new vehicles by more than $2,200 per vehicle. And I think we're going to get that up to $3,500 per vehicle.
なるほど、こういった形でやってるのかなと私自身は思ったわけですけども、私たちは彼は今回この J-CPAC に来ることを本当に心から望んでいました。たった20年で東京にオリンピックも来たんです。
Within a very, very large business that has locations all over the world.
And welcome to the 4th annual Japan Conservative Union Conference.
Thank you for inviting me to speak with you today on the topic of the environment, energy security, and U.S.-Japanese relations.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to join you for CPAC Japan 2020.
課題認識については、世界から見ればもう何週も周回遅れしていると、そういう危機感を持っております。
東南アジアの国、欧州の国、いろんなその価値と戦略的利益と価値を共有する国との間で、経済、技術を含めた相対的な安全保障、広い意味での経済安全保障の面も含めて、ネットワークを強化する。
このお二人や、あるいは僕のような非力な人間の力だけだととてもできないから、日本の主人公は皆さんだけなので、主権者が僕らの話を今日もヒントにしていただいて、そういうことが分かる議員に投票する。